Hello everyone, I'm Henri Hämäläinen from Eficode, Agile coach for over 10 years, but then have been focusing on product organization design and product organizations for past 5 years. One thing that kind of is troubling many organizations is that what's the best Agile team structure? If someone would have asked me 15 years ago, I would have said definitely it's the feature team. There always needs to be feature teams that can deliver things throughout the kind of whatever stack you are, like a full stack teams. And of course that is a very good target, but then I've had the luxury to work maybe with somewhere around 100 different organizations, and more and more I learn, I've kind of noticed that there are other reasons, there are other ways to actually structure your organization and other ways to kind of build up the Agile teams. So I'll go through some of these team ideas and team topologies that we've faced and kind of what's the good and bad on those overall. Coming back to the feature team thinking. So the idea of a feature team is that, hey, you can actually give a full feature to the team, and then they have the capabilities to build it from beginning to the end. So if it needs backend, if it needs UI, if it needs middleware, you can always build, the team can build all of it. Then when your organization goes larger and larger, it becomes impossible to actually have a feature team that can do it all. You can have feature teams for certain areas and you can have feature teams for a certain limited areas, but it's never possible that you only have 20 feature teams doing it all. So there needs to be other alternatives also. So then the other alternative most of organizations see is this component team. You only have a one component. It can be nowadays also a microservice or something, and you have a component that the team is responsible on it. And of course there are benefits on having component teams. A component team can really focus, build up competencies on it and really focus on kind of going deeper on that specific area. Of course then the con on that is that, hey, they will end up being permanent, being that they will always find more and more improvement items on that one component, and maybe they are not seeing the whole, and it becomes harder to actually kind of build up the full features. You might need to take frameworks like Scale Agile framework or some other ways to kind of sync up work between different teams if you have multiple component teams in an organization. So there's good and bad on it also. Then one good way at least to think is to have these platform teams, like a team that actually provides, maybe it could be now the microservice or some other kind of enabler the others can use, especially when you're talking about larger organizations that have assets that should be shared between different products. A good example would be like a user management or something like that. There's no it would be waste that everybody would be building the same like a user management for all the products, but you can actually use the one platform and you will provide that to all the different products or all the different services you are creating. If we go to this kind of a hardware world where many products also have a hardware, then you definitely need to have these embedded software teams that really focus on actually getting the hardware product also working, and that is quite often quite hard to combine with this kind of a latest software. The timings and the kind of a velocity of the development is so different on hardware and then maybe on a UI on some web-based application. And then if those need to work together, then maybe it is good idea to actually have the embedded software team different, separated, and then they can focus on building that one. Then quite often this what we call a core product team is needed. we'll take like maybe a bank as an example. If you're doing a banking software, this team which is responsible on building up the kind of money handling, these things that you really are so essential to work that and also there's a risk that if someone could kind of do some harm to you. So it is good to build these core product teams. Some parts of the software or solution that only this team can work on. So that makes sense to have this core product team. You could think those are quite similar to the platform teams. Yeah, there are similarities, but I think it is essential to realize that a core product team is really a core product team. That's something that you need to focus on having the best people in the core product team, because that is in the very heart of the whole solution. Then definitely in every organization there might be these horizontal teams. And their practices are different. An example of a horizontal team could be like some system testing team or DevOps team, which actually builds up capabilities for all of the different organizations, all of the other teams inside the organization. So these kind of horizontal teams have their place in every organization, and their practices are very different. They need to really focus on serving all the different teams there inside the organization. So there is definitely a place for horizontal teams for many organizations. Then sometimes it does make sense to have project teams. Those are not permanent, but you actually build up the project team in order to build up a project which goes over many parts of this existing software or existing solution you already have. So kind of it sometimes is okay to have a project team for some time, and then that can be then kind of split to different teams, or the people go back to their own teams or something like that. So project teams are also fine. And then one concept I want to kind of mention at the end is that like the rapidly changing kind of agile solution creation, it's quite often faster than the possibility to change the teams. So you actually need to have this concept of virtual teams. So you need to have the possibility for teams to go over each other and actually build up these virtual teams to either provide a solution or kind of build up competencies. So virtual teams is a concept that you definitely should think when building up an organization, that hey, how do we build up virtual teams? How to then those don't become permanent, but those are really for a certain purpose and actually building up something, whether it's a competence or a solution. But a virtual team definitely is a concept that every modern organization needs to have. So the whole point of this session was that hey, kind of don't be too focused on we only need to have feature teams. There are multiple different good ways to structure your organization. Of course, feature teams are really good, but at some point those become impossible. Those become something that you really can't build your organization to have 10 or 15 different feature teams. There needs to be different solutions, different ways to actually kind of build up your team structure. Thanks.